Hi, welcome to this channel on magnetic energy, technology, principles, applications. This video is about ascension preparation, and so there's like always these metaphysical themes and all this information, and this is one of those types of videos that's mostly going to be metaphysical. And one of the messages that we are given is that in this ascension process, and I feel like it's being, they like to call it ascension over enlightenment, because enlightenment doesn't really we may not necessarily be enlightened compared to other cultures after this coming shift, but there will be some level of ascension for sure from what humanity is currently at, which is you. So now you've got all kinds of, speaking of that, so there's all kinds of systems around the planet. You can say like the political systems, governmental systems, military systems, religious systems, economic systems, agricultural systems. All these things in this model are represented, they're a reflection of the magnetic resonance, pulse rate resonance, however you want to say that, whatever terms you feel comfortable with, that are around our planet right now. So it's that magnetic field and its vibration, its resonance. And in this model, and by the way, this is highly alternative information, so please be aware of that if you've just tuned into this. So everything is interconnected. This is an etheric magnetic model of the universe, and literally everything is interconnected, including the planet, our ionosphere, human consciousness, and our level of consciousness, all of this. And so all these systems are going to, around the world, the corporate systems, everything, they're all going to seriously evolve after this shift that's coming, this pole shift, this ascension shift, however you want to call it. And you can call, I don't care, call it enlightenment shift, whatever. But all the systems are going to seriously evolve. And, well, obviously, because they're run by humans, and so as the humans evolve, the systems will change and evolve as well. So, but in that process, one of the messages we are given is that there are humans around the globe, and I think this is a very common theme, like in metaphysical communities, but there will be humans around the globe that are essentially like conduits for this energy, for this like higher vibration, this new energy. And like I've often called them like light workers, or people will say like people, you know, that are kind of more in touch with a oneness energy or heartfelt guidance in their lives and all this kind of stuff. Well, so I'm assuming the reason I was guided to do this video is because some people watching this video are either already those conduits, or they're going to become those conduits that assist in this ascension process. And part of that is when you think about this model, oneness is a huge part of this model. So it's kind of like whether we like it or not, we are all one on this global community. We are one at a resonance level, one at a magnetic level, at an etheric level. We are all interconnected. And so as these conduits for this higher vibration, if you want to call it that, higher resonance of energy, as these conduits kind of take their role and play their part in this, they impact the entire global community by raising their own vibration, raising their own resonance, and then in turn raising the resonance of everyone around. Now, it doesn't mean that the burden lies on them. So I got to make that clear. It's not that there's something like you know we need to work or this isn't going to happen. It's not really that at all. It's more of like, if you're called to do it and you feel great about doing this type of work, then just go ahead and do it. Just be yourself doing it. That's fine, because you'll automatically impact the global community just by engaging in this process. And I'm going to leave in the comments, I'm going to leave some just basic affirmations that you can try. And I invite you to please, even if you've never done this before, I invite you to please read those affirmations in the comments like every day. It'll only take a few minutes, but read them every day for at least like a couple of weeks or maybe 30 days or something. And without trying to force anything to happen, just see how you feel after reading them. So like just see if you feel more expansive, or if you feel like you're raising your vibration, or if you feel like you're kind of tapping into like something bigger than us as individuals, but into a global network of energy. Just kind of see how you feel with it. And then if it's like, wow, this is, I can really relate to this, and this is for me to do this, then please keep doing it. And if you're like, this doesn't resonate with me at all, then don't worry about it. There's no judgment or anything, because you might have another role to play that's even more important than that. And I'm not here to judge anyone's role, because literally every piece of the puzzle is important. Otherwise, the picture isn't right. And the universe doesn't make mistakes. So if you have a path, that path is set, and that is awesome. And it's really up to us to engage in that path and engage in that heart energy and really be that universal expression. This is going to be like a sermon, just so to make you aware. So, and these affirmations, they have to do with like, not only like surrounding yourself and protecting yourself and your family and your house with like love and light and all that, but it's about doing an affirmation for like what the future will look like. Just very simple stuff like, like in terms of resources, allocation of resources, I put that stuff in there. And then just blessing everyone around the planet and their homes, and surrounding them with light and love and all that. So they're very simple, but as you go through them, just kind of see how you feel. That's one of the things. Okay, so another big message of this, to help not only with people that are meant to be conduits for this energy, but it's also to help anyone in general prepare for this coming ascension of energy, this ascension process. And there's some parallels between like leaving our incarnation and what we're going to go through. Now, so like when we leave our bodies and we are done with this incarnation, people say we're dead, but we kind of do this, life review thing, but we see everything that's happened in our life, all the relationships, all the events, all the pain, all the suffering, all the joy. We see it all from a higher perspective. So it's kind of easier at that point to process all of it, to kind of embrace the healing, to accept everything that's happened to us, or that we've agreed to let happen to us at a higher level, and everything that we've done to others. And so it's easier for us to kind of get the bigger picture on what all of it means and how we've participated in this tapestry of life and all this stuff. So one of the things, but in this process, in the ascension process, we're going to kind of be going through that, but not necessarily leaving our incarnation, but kind of going through that same process. So one of the things to make that transition a little smoother or easier, if you want, and less shocking to our systems, because in some cases, like if people are completely unaware and they have a tremendous amount of resistance to what's happening to them, and they are just holding on, like say for example, to their pain so tightly, this process could literally like drive them insane. Like it could, there will be people that leave this life because it is just too much for them to cope with. So part of this is like is engaging in this process of bringing all the fragmented parts of ourself into a vibration of love. And so I know this is a touchy-feely topic, but please bear with me on this. So in this magnetic model, anytime we have an experience or a feeling or an emotion that is like of a low vibration, so like it could be anger, hurt, like pain, it could be resentment, bitterness, all these things, fear, that energy, that resonant vibration tends to create fractures in ourselves at an energetic level. And so it's because a lot of it is those low vibrations aren't really supported at a higher level universally. And so they're not really in alignment with our true nature. So they create all these like fractures of the self, if you want to call it that. And so one of the things to do, and this isn't necessarily about like trying to heal everything or trying to forgive everything or trying to forget what's happened. This isn't really about any of that. What it's about is taking each part of yourself and surrounding it, filling it, blessing it in a visualization, or even in speaking it or writing it down, surrounding it, blessing it, and with unconditional love. We are really like, so like maybe you had a painful experience as a child, and or maybe you had the government take away, units from you that were worth billions of dollars. I'm sorry. You've had painful experiences. So it's not necessarily about forgiving the government, although that's not a bad idea. And forgiving yourself is always a good idea, of course. But it's about like blessing that part of yourself that felt so angry or so hurt or so betrayed or violated or whatever it is, surrounding and blessing that part of yourself in unconditional love. So that part of yourself that went through that experience, that part of yourself you raise the vibration of that self to come into alignment with a higher vibration that you will be going through in this ascension process. So it's kind of like looking at your life review from a higher level and really giving each part of you in all of your experiences unconditional love, surrounding yourself with unconditional love, feeling that unconditional love, bringing that part of yourself, that fragmented or fractured part of yourself, into an energy of unconditional love so that you kind of feel this wholeness. I mean, it doesn't necessarily take away the pain we've been through, especially until we go through like an ascension process and we truly get the higher perspective and the higher level of consciousness to look at everything like from the heart center, and then it all kind of makes sense. But while we're still really kind of mostly in this ego perspective and the relatively low vibration, one of the best things we can do, at least at this point, to prepare is to bring all those parts of ourselves into an energy of unconditional love. Try to bring that into your heart space like we've done those other meditations on that and stuff. But it's really bringing it all together so that you have a continuous like expression of your energy, even at an etheric level. And this is kind of easy to do in a sense that it's not necessarily about trying to find painful experiences that have happened in your life. You don't need to do that. We don't really need to do that. You can let your guides or your higher self or your heart energy just show you. And there's every year we've got all these Mercury in retrogrades that will prompt you to revisit your past and your pain and your terrible experiences. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't be making light of that, because we've all been through really challenging experiences. And so it's when you are prompted, like if you have a memory of something, or you have an experience, even a current experience where someone really pisses you off, or you have a really just some sort of awful experience, as soon as you experience that emotion or that feeling that is of what you could say is of a lower vibration, like hatred or anger. I mean, good Lord, it could be about the government or corporations or what's happening around the world. There's all kinds of things that we can have lots of hatred about right now, and anger. So as soon as you experience that, what the request is to try to train ourselves to let our immediate response be to give that part of yourself that's experiencing or feeling that hatred or anger or whatever it is, this blessing of unconditional love, this surrounding that part of yourself with unconditional love immediately, like train ourselves to let that be our response, so that we start to discontinue fragmenting or fracturing ourselves at an energetic level, and we start to experience life in that wholeness. And you can say, well, what do you do with all that pain? What do you do with all that anger? You can do visualizations, and I have those other meditations on that where you're literally putting it into light. You're putting it into columns of light and letting it go away. You can journal about it. You can do however it takes, and sometimes it's just a matter of time. And so, but the big thing is it's really about making sure that you see that part of yourself as surrounded in love, surrounded in unconditional love, no matter what your experience or your feeling or expression was. That's really what it's coming down to. And then if you get to that place where you're like, wow, I feel pretty good, or I feel pretty whole, you can really do affirmations for other people around the world, your family, your friends, whatever, to have that same type of energy about themselves and bringing themselves into wholeness and blessing them with that love and that self-acceptance with unconditional love. That's kind of really what it is, because that creates the beautiful energy that will be compatible with the ascension energy that we go through. What is it? Unconditional love is the great alchemizer. It will transmute, transform, change. It's the great transmuter. It's the great, add all these cool words to unconditional love, because the power of it is so amazing, especially at an etheric, high vibration level. It really is compatible with universal energy, and it's compatible with the energy we are going to be moving into. And that's really important. It's really important for us. And for some of you on this video who are meant to be those conduits, doing that practice will empower your visualizations. It will empower when you do those affirmations or something similar to those affirmations that I'm putting in the comments. So please, if you're called to do this, you will know it, because you will feel an expansion of energy. You will feel a heart-opening thing. As you do that every day, it will become part of your path. And then just let that wholeness of self, that unconditional love of acceptance of all the pieces of self, this with no judgment. This is no judgment. This isn't about, hey, I could have done better, or I should have done better. It's really not about that. At this level of consciousness, at this level of low vibration that we've all been in for thousands of years, really shitty things happen. Really bad things happen a lot. I mean, there's wars, there's famine, there's suffering, there's all kinds of stuff. So we're not here to judge ourselves. What we're here to do is just simply surround that part of yourself in unconditional love and bring it into wholeness and prepare yourself for an ascension of consciousness. So with that said, I hope this reaches someone and they get something out of this, because it's a little embarrassing to be doing these kind of videos when I'm supposed to be, when I think I'm supposed to be really focusing on magnetic energy, and then I'm guided to do something like this. But that's good. It's all good, because this is all part of the process. It's weird how metaphysics is so interconnected to this. It's really the union of science and spirituality. This neutral magnetic energy, the theory behind it, the philosophy behind it, the technology. It's the union of that stuff. It's really the expression of unconditional love in technology, which is crazy. So with that said, I will thank you, and thank you for listening to this, and thank you for trying out those affirmations if your schedule permits it. And I will see you next time.